Hello and welcome to another Black Crow video. I am Sam, Black Crow's resident melee expert, and today I'm here to talk about the recent changes to Emperor's Children and specifically the Flawless Blades. So, yeah, I mean, pretty excited to talk about them. It's not a huge amount of changes for Emperor's Children, but this is going to be an impactful one, I think. Um, but first, let me just quickly run through our sponsors. We have Terrain Forge, we have Glasshammer, and we have Trident. These are three fantastic companies that you do need to check out for all your hobbying needs. We've picked out we've only accepted the best for our sponsorships, and there's if you check in the link tree in the description, you'll find all of our discount codes. Please go use them. It helps us out loads. And yeah, thank you. Also, if you like the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It does wonders for us. So yeah, without further ado, I'm not going to dilly dally on this one, and we'll just jump right in. So we've got the only real change to Emperor's Children from the balanced data slate side of things was this. It was the flawless blades melee weapons have changed to, well, they just gained an attack, right? Now this profile. So when we were looking at flawless blades before this change, they had the amazingly powerful ability of just crit threes against anything, super exciting. And then obviously that's like down swing of like, oh, do I want to use it? Because if I fail to kill a thing, I'm going to lose a model. And these guys aren't particularly tanky. They only have 3 attacks each. It's like on the chart, when you charge in, you're only getting like 9 attacks, and you need to kill stuff. And you kind of wanted these to be your sort of like anti-elite stuff or anti monster vehicles, right? Mostly anti-monster vehicles. But the problem is with you know, yes, they hit on 2s and they win on 3s, but there's so much like ability for them just to roll slightly below what they need to, and then they just do nothing effectively. So the extra attack is massive. I mean, yes, it's just a straight 33% damage increase, but now it really does take it over that threshold of like, oh, I'm not sure if it will quite kill a rhino. Like it should, but will it? To, oh, suddenly I will. And um or do some serious damage into some tougher things. Um the other major play of this is like, okay, they didn't go up in points, right? They stayed at the 110. Now 110 points is like 3 guys. Yes, they're 3 wounds each, but I think they're like toughness 5. They're not tanky, right? They're just not. They will just die to a stiff breeze. But having like that, like, okay, I can just 110 is cheap enough that if they have some form of like impact threat, like damage threat, that this is suddenly like, okay, this is worthwhile considering and taking. The other changes, I'll just quickly run through them in case you're not aware. We have insignificant change to Fulgrim, where they went, oh, if he's going over terrain that's less than 4 inches high, you can go through it, and it's like, great, he's still, huge dinner plate base, and they dropped his points by like 20 points or something like that, and they needed to drop his base size by about 30 mil. So yeah, he's still not going to be really useful. Like the main problem is like GW terrain, no change for him with that rule, because he can either go over the terrain or he can't. Still, it didn't change. And same with UKTC, all of the terrain is above 4 inches, except for the like tiny pillars on the corners. So yeah, basically no change from there, just 20 points decrease, and then a 10 points increase to the Lord Cacophonist. So just to make your list writing a little bit more awkward if you already had a list at like 2,000 points that you liked. So I've written a couple of lists. I'm going to talk you through them and explain it, but yeah. So here's the 2 list ideas. This is my sort of style of Emperor's Children. I wasn't a big fan of Maulers, and I do really like the Demon Princes. Now, like this is basically like a 1 Demon Prince option or 2 Demon Prince option with the standard stuff. Both lists in Coterie, because I still think there might be, I think if you want to sort of spam out the flawless blades, then I actually think in like a combatty like close range meta, if we end up in that, I think we're all still trying to figuring out the new meta. Then Peerless might have some play. Um, but at the moment, Kotu just seems the go-to place. That Armor of Contempt, that Feel No Pain are both hugely critical for it, and also getting those full rerolls on those flawless when they do, if they need to punch up into something, um, those rerolls will be really useful. So yeah, one of the main things also to think about. So like one of the armies that EC typically struggle with, which is why you're seeing the Mauler Fiends and quite commonly, is the Knights matchup. Now I think just the one unit of Flawless alone makes that Knight matchup so much better because you chuck Lucius with them. Suddenly, yes, Lucius loses his like lone op and his fight first, but that's not the point, right? He suddenly gets the 3 up uh like crits to wound. So when he goes into a big knight and goes, I full reroll to hit, I full reroll to wound, you don't really use him super early on, so there's a decent chance that he's got that sustained lethal. Or even if it's really late and you've done really well on your pledges, you'll get sustained lethal crit fives with full rerolls to hit and then full rerolls to wound. Like him alone, wounding on threes into night like big knights, he's gonna crush because he's also AP3, so damage free. So like that's where I think the tech comes for like just squeezing a unit of flawless blades in your like otherwise sort of solid army. I think just really helps with those matchups where you go, okay, the opponent's got loads of big tough stuff. Um, Especially when we're talking about them being like walkers or monsters for Lucius. So it's like, let me just slot them with him. And otherwise, they're just a really great, fast-ish, they're faster than normal Marines and have that advancing charge. Sort of trading piece early on where you can go, okay, someone's thrown a vehicle onto an objective. Let me just go pop that and then send like an infractor unit to clean up the stuff that's inside. Or oh, there's a unit of scouts on that objective. I just really need to get them off it. It's a 110 points is cheap enough where you're like, that's not a bad trade for me. Like I don't like if it's scoring me points and removing your opponent's unit and getting me pledge points. It's just playing into that game style of let me just slowly like the first couple of turns, let me just throw out a couple of trading pieces, force the opponent to play the game, and then get up my pledges and then go in on them. I do still really want to play with 2 Demon Princes. So I'm leaning towards list idea one. It puts the Flawless Blades in. It doesn't go all in on crazy on them. I think the fundamental army itself is still very strong. We don't need to mess with it that much. That list doesn't have the flip 6 Lord Cacophonist, which is, I wish it had it. But trying to write it and figure out like a way of fitting that in just didn't really work for me. But it has that like fundamental 2 tormentors, 3 infractors, 3 lord exultants is just sort of what I want everywhere. I've dropped down to 2 rhinos. I've had lists with 3. 3 is lovely, but it doesn't. I feel like I'd rather just try and get the extra tormentors in. The other list goes down to 1 Demon Prince, which I feel like 2 feels a lot more like critical mass on like, you know, just ruining a damage 2 armies day. 1 will just be annoying for them and, do a good, decent amount of mortals and just be a piece that's very frustrating for the opponent to remove. I had some points extra, which is why I put in the second Lord Cacophonist. Because yeah, that's just the way that worked out. I'm like, that's fine because I'm gonna have I'm probably gonna put the flip 6 one in reserves most games anyway. So then it doesn't matter that I can't double up noise marines in a rhino, and I'll just have to drop out an infractor unit relatively early, whether it's into a staging spot or going straight into combat. I think I really do like the list. The 2 flawless will be quite nice at being those like early game trading pieces, or with the 12 attacks now on the charge, they will be good late game hammer pieces. 3 of them going into a unit of marines will shred them once you have like the sustain and lethal up as well. So it's I think Emperors are in a really interesting place. These are just like blanket me lists, like the way I want to play EC, I am certain that some of you will have come up with lists that is like, okay, I'm going to take a 6-man flawless and 2 3-mans, and they're going to be like my like hammer units into, especially the 6-man is going to be like a hammer unit into the enemy, where it just pretty much kills anything that they have, especially if you put Lucius with it, right? All these are like, there's going to be lots of options. Please, put them in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what sort of units you think I'm sleeping on, or I'm overrating in here. If you're like, well, why would you take a second Lord Cacophonus? It's like, well, he could also be a solo piece that just runs out, does an action, comes in from reserve or whatever, potentially put some mortal wounds on something. I like, one of my favorite things about, coming from like a World Eater's side of things, where we don't really have very much mortal wound output, maybe a grenade here or there, or a tank shock, dev wounds now as well, that I consider that separate, but the like having like 2 demon princes and Lord Cacophonus and stuff like that, and grenades. It's like, oh, I've got a thing that's tough to remove, but is like susceptible to mortal wounds. Let me just spam the crap out of them into it, which is really satisfying. So yeah, I don't really have that much more to talk on about this. I hope that there's some, if this triggers some sort of thought processes for you in checking out lists, like to help you have some list ideas. These are my first ones, but yeah, please share yours with me. I'll be checking down in the comments. So, all right. Thank you for listening to my speed run through Flawless Blades. And I hope to see you in the next video.